Today on Melanated Conversations, we amplify the voice of mental health advocate and author Achea Redd. The daughter of a pastor and wife of NBA legend Michael Redd, Achea was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and an eating disorder. In response to her diagnosis, Achea aims to make mental health an everyday conversation among women and girls within the Black community. As a form of expression, Achea created her own blog, Real Girls Fart, which empowers women to be their most authentic selves. And she also penned her award-winning biography, Be Free, Be You. Tune in as we chat with Achea about overcoming fear, confronting pain, and embracing acceptance in order to live your very best life, as well as her newly released book, Authentic You. Welcome to Melanated Conversations, our narrative from our perspective.
Here on the podcast, we are amplifying the voices of Black women and sharing their powerful stories of transformation.
I'm Tyrion.
And I'm Yana. Let's start the show. Welcome back to another episode of Melanated Conversations. I am your co-host, Yana.
And I am your co-host, Tyrion.
Yes, welcome back, y'all. We are so excited to share with you all again today. We have a phenomenal guest on the show today. We want to welcome her, Miss Achea Redd. I'm sorry, is it Achea Redd?
I like the color, but except for these, so
yeah,
you got it though.
All right,
ladies, I'm glad to be here.
Yes,
thank you for saying yes.
Yeah. First, come on now.
Well, Achea, we like to jump straight into it. Actually, we like to play a little game before we jump straight into it. Are you open to playing?
Of course. I'm hoping I'm a competitive person.
Okay, so the first one. So we're gonna do Thanksgiving sides: mashed potatoes, candy yams, or dressing. Has to go, and I'm gonna start with Achea.
Oh, Lord. I'm such a carb lover, but I'm going to have to say mashed potatoes because the other three, I can't have a Thanksgiving without the other three.
Mashed potatoes got to go for Achea.
Yep.
Okay. Yana, what about you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know me, Terry. I'm a potato girl. I'm a potato down, like scallop, baked, fried, French fry. I don't care. I love potatoes, but for Thanksgiving,
yes,
dressing is just standard. Like it ain't Thanksgiving if there's no dressing. I don't want it. It's just a regular.
Dressing is not even a side. It's a main dish.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
You don't have dressing, then it's just a regular dinner. It's just this Wednesday. It's just a Thursday. It's just Thursday at that point. So mashed potatoes. I'll holler at y'all on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday next week. But as for me and my Thanksgiving dinner table, is
amen.
Cornbread dressing.
Come on, cornbread dressing. I am with you.
Oh, and my candy yams.
Oh yes. Oh, I'm here for it.
And some of it got to be good and juicy, so a little juice can slide on down the plate and touch.
Of course,
the dressing and the
touch and agree.
Of my dressing.
Yes,
you got to touch and agree.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes.
I love it. I'm right there with y'all. Mashed potatoes, like you said, Yana, you can get mashed potatoes, French fries, wedges, whatever you need on any other day of the week. Let's do another round. Is that okay?
Yeah, keep going.
All right. TV shows. All right. Standard Black TV shows. One has to go forever. Martin, Cosby Show, Fresh Prince, or
what was the last one? I didn't hear that.
World.
Oh, dang.
Oh, my God.
I like that both of y'all are saying like, dang it, oh my gosh, because that means this is supposed to be hard.
Technically, can different world exist if Cosby is not an option?
Oh, you're right.
Boy. Okay, Martin, Cosby, Fresh Prince.
A different world.
Oh my God.
I know, this is hard.
This one's hard.
And they're all great in their own for different reasons and different ways. You got
okay, y'all. I'm gonna just have to do it. I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna just have to go here and say Fresh Prince.
Wow.
I mean, and I love Fresh Prince. Like I love me some Will Smith and Jazzy Jet.
Yeah.
But I gotta say Fresh Prince, I would go to Hillman College.
Facts.
True.
Yeah, I mean that shaped my whole like everything when I was growing up. And then Martin, Shanae.
Yeah. I mean, all the characters.
Yeah, everybody. So I mean, I'm sorry, Fresh Prince. Love you, but you gotta go for me.
Okay. Ooh. Fresh Prince is out. Yana. Ooh. What about you?
My sides hurt. Okay. So listeners, I was forced. Tyrion gave us this question first and foremost, so blame her.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go something totally off base. And I'm going to give y'all my reasons why, because it's the only thing I can think of, because I don't really want to get rid of none of them. I'm probably going to say Cosby's. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why.
I am having a heart attack over here.
Me too.
Only reason I say that, please. Which is hard because, like I said, different world comes from the Cosby. So how do you get rid of the Cosby's anyway, I'm thinking about my tween self. I didn't really start watching the Cosby Show until I became more of an adult, more so than as a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I didn't really watch the Cosby. I don't recall watching the Cosby Show as a kid. Now, Different World was a different story. I did watch it, but like Fresh Prince and Martin, all those are like tied directly to my childhood because I remember watching them, and I can like go back to a place. Like I know where I was, I know how it felt, I know what I was wearing. Like I can like
it's nostalgic. For you.
Yeah.
Cosby is more as I became, an adult. So that's the only reason. It has nothing to do with solely the content or the quality of the show at all. It's just more so just thinking back to when I started watching each show.
Makes sense.
Got it.
That was so hard for me to say. I know everybody.
Man, that hurt me.
Don't at me in the comments.
Scratch on me. Okay, I guess it's my turn to answer this. Yeah, I'm with you, Achea. I'm definitely not getting rid of Cosby Show. I definitely grew up watching same thing, A Different World definitely played a huge impact. Yeah, like okay, like we can do bigger and better things, and just having that being shown on TV was great. Fresh Prince or Martin. So it's between Fresh Prince and Martin for me. Ooh. Actually, growing up, I wasn't necessarily allowed to watch Martin. I would catch episodes here and there. My way having it. I was raised by my grandma. She just was not having it.
No, I'm laughing because Key, I don't know if you know that me and Terry are first cousins.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should have been watching Martin, but I watched a lot of Martin as a kid. It's crazy I watched Martin that I didn't watch the Cosby Show.
Cosby Show. That is that's interesting.
But keep going.
Oh, but for whatever reason, I still knew about Martin. I saw episodes here. So it really hasn't been until I got into my 20s. And then I was able to like sit and like really, really, really like watch the episodes through and through. Ooh. So I'm going to say Martin. The characters that he played on that show, I mean, I feel like who was probably more a trailblazer of playing characters was like Eddie Murphy did a lot of that. He does that in his movies. He plays multiple characters.
Yep.
But then Martin was able to like bring that into sitcom TV, and then you see other people starting, Tyler Perry's and things like that. Yeah, I hate to do it because I watch Martin religiously, especially now when it's in, it's in syndication. I watch it all the time, and my husband's like, "Why? Why do you watch the same shit over and over again?" But if one has to go, it's going to be Martin.
I like how we had all different answers, but it was all so hard for each of us.
It's such a hard question, and I have to admit, I mean, let me just be honest. Like, I'm a preacher's kid, so I wasn't supposed to be watching Martin. But I was sneaking in mom and dad's bedroom when they were downstairs watching Martin, turning it way down low, trying to keep my laughter quiet. So I can definitely understand what you're saying. So I watched it anyway. So this is my confession.
This is my confession.
I will say this though, to your point, Fresh Prince, you know what, one favorite, and I hope I'm not mixing my sitcoms up, but one of my favorite episodes was when Tevin Campbell came to her birthday party.
Yes, the actor's birthday. Yes.
One of my favorites. Yes. One of my favorites. So
that is a really good, that's a memorable episode. That really is.
Yes. That was when he was, it was hot. And,
right. He felt like he was singing to you.
He was mad at Ashley because Tevin Campbell came to the house and sang.
Well, who brought on out of those 4 sitcoms, who brought on the most guests? I think it was between Fresh Prince and Martin, I would say. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Was Living Single on the list?
You know what? No, it wasn't on the list. You know what? On
Nancy Wilson.
They brought on a lot of guests, but they brought on like those greats. Yeah, Lou Armstrong. Yep. Like they brought on people like that. That's a good question, y'all. Yeah. I would agree. It probably is between Martin and Fresh Prince.
I don't know. Different World brought on a lot of people too.
They did,
and they were like part of the show. They were either professors or like they were themselves.
So true.
All right. Well, that was so much fun. I wish we can keep.
Yes,
I wish we could just have like a show of just games today.
I know I did more, but yeah.
But we want to make sure that our listeners get to know you more and all the great work that you're doing, Achea. So, kind of walk us through a little bit about your story. What are your roots? Can you share a little bit?
Absolutely. I'm a pastor's kid, or as we call it in the church world. And I have strong roots in Pentecostal church. And I went to Christian school my entire life. So very sheltered. And as you know, growing up in that type of environment comes with some negative things too. There are a lot of expectations that are placed on you. And in my case, growing up, I didn't necessarily like see behavior model that was preached. So it was, a very critical thing, and it was very crazy making for me, and gave me a very complicated relationship, church relationship with God, relationship with my father. So it caused me to have mental health issues of depression and anxiety and an eating disorder. And I've struggled with that probably since I was a little girl, but I wasn't diagnosed until roughly 4 years ago. And I think part of the reason why I went undiagnosed for so long was just because in the religious community, and then even more so in the Black community, mental health is just not something that we talk about. And if you're a Black Christian, you really don't talk about it, because it's something that you need to trust God to believe that it will get better. And it's not really a normal thing to discuss. And so I didn't even know that anxiety disorder or depression or any of that was a thing. The only thing I thought health was, my quote unquote crazy, uncle living in the room in great grandma's house, and you just don't talk to him. So it was never normalized. And so that had, really played a part in why I never really expressed anything that I was struggling with. And so I have this saying that I live by, and if you don't deal with life, life deals with you. So about 4 years ago, life dealt with me. Everything that I had suppressed as a kid, that I had seen as a child, some childhood trauma, just all showed up on my doorstep. And I had a nervous breakdown. And that was the first one that I had ever had in my life. And it forced me to go and get help by my doctor, to take medication, to seek consistent therapy. And that was very difficult and different for me, being an African American woman who had strong roots in the church. And so that is what got me to start advocating and being an activist in the mental health field for, in particular, Black and Brown women. So, that's a really interesting question. I will have to tell you that there were a couple of times before I actually had the nervous breakdown that I noticed my reactions and responses to things were not probably like typical of, someone who doesn't have anxiety or whatever. Like, I knew that there was a deeper issue, right? Mm-hmm. And there were things that would trigger me that, if I didn't have that issue, it probably wouldn't trigger me. But I didn't know enough, and it wasn't dire enough, if you will. And it was just, to me, very normal, because that was how I always behaved, because I've always had the problem. So when I finally, it was not even, I have to tell you, it wasn't a choice. I didn't even have a choice, because I couldn't even function. I got into the point where my body was physically shutting down. I mean, I couldn't do anything without crying. I was, doing my daughter's hair, and my hands would be trembling. So I couldn't even put her little pigtails in without my hands shaking. It had gotten to the point where I had probably gone without sleep for, 24 hours at a time, sometimes because I was just having panic attacks every night.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of the night. So there was not really another alternative for me not to deal with it. And so I didn't have a choice. I mean, it literally, that particular day that I had drove myself to the doctor, it was because I hadn't slept for 24 hours because I kept having panic attacks. And my adrenaline had gotten so high, my blood pressure was at stroke level, to where, I physically was feeling, when you get to that point, you are physically ill. So it was physically affecting me. And I thought I actually had some kind of sickness. I didn't even think it was anything mental health related. So that was why I went to the doctor. And when the doctor actually told me that it was anxiety disorder, I was just like, oh, what? Right. That's the thing? So yeah, I mean, that's how I actually went and got help. If it would not have gotten that dire, I probably, to your point, wouldn't have even dealt with it.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing too, because it goes back to your statement about how, realistically in the Black community, thankfully we're now seeing on trend that, we are being more receptive and open to the conversation around our mental health. But before, we started entering this period of time, we didn't know the warning signs. We didn't know what that looked like. We didn't, like you said, if we kind of lumped it with something really far off, I don't want to say using the word crazy, but in our mind, that's how we, right. That's how we kind of coined it as you being someone that was just crazy. And, even some of the mild symptoms and how, when you don't address those, how they basically, I think of it like a snowball, it just continues to build and build and build and grows until we get to that breaking point, like you had, where it starts to bleed through us physically. So kind of when you were you talked a little bit about it, but when the doctor was telling you, and diagnosing you with general anxiety disorder?
Yeah, it's called Generalized Anxiety Disorder, or GAD is what it is short for.
What was going through your mind in the moment, and how long did it take you actually to really process and really accept this is, because even I can't assume on your behalf, but just knowing myself, if I'm hearing stuff like that, it may take me a minute to process. I'm like, no, I think I just having, just some bad day. Or I don't know if it's, It's to that point, but how long did it take you to accept it and really move forward to, getting yourself on track for seeking the help that you needed for your mental health?
So I'm about to tell you something that's like going to shock y'all. I probably, like, for real, didn't accept it for a good 6 months. I went ahead and got the treatment because I was suffering so bad. Like, when he told me that it was anxiety disorder, and he said, and I'm going to prove it to you. He says, because in 2 days, he says, you're going to call me back and you're going to say, no, I think it's something else. And so I called him back 2 days later and I was like, no, it's something else. Because I had developed this tremor that I was very shaky inside. And so no one else could see the shakiness, but I could feel it. So like my body internally was like vibrating. And it was very disruptive, like to everything. And so that it made me think that actually I had like MS or like something like that, because I actually have a friend who does have that. And so muscles were twitching. It was the weirdest type stuff that I had never experienced in my life. And so I went ahead and said, okay, well, I'm just going to believe him. Okay. What do I have to lose? Okay. I'm going to go on this medicine. I'm going to go talk to somebody on a regular basis. And I don't have anything to lose, really. So if that, I'm sure we'll find out. And so once I actually went into therapy consistently and was talking to the therapist and actually started uncovering some things and some really showing a lot of evidence for why that's what it was, that actually helped me come to the acceptance of what it was. However, like, it was still hard. It was still hard that, I had to rely on taking a pill every day just to function, like in a normal, quote unquote, whatever normal is, way. And, that has come only with time, that I take medication, because there was so much shame in that. Because even when I would tell my mom and other people at first, that was very stigmatized. Like, you got to take crazy pills, basically.
Yeah.
And why are you letting them poison your body like that? And,
yes.
Or, to be honest with you, you first sometimes before you get better taking those drugs. And that's what turns people off from taking them. And so when I would complain about the side effects, they would be like, oh, you need to get off them drugs. They're messing you up. They're messing your mind up. They're messing your mind up. You're going to be crazy. And I just had to trust, honestly, I had to just trust my intuition, know that was the path that I had to take. And I'm glad I did, because I am, 100% recovered. Do I still take medicine? Yeah. But I'm doing so much better than I was.
And not only that, you actually served as you were like the torch for, say, your family or friends or people looking at you, because they haven't experienced that. And, you fought through a lot of, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping in a little bit, but I think that's another thing that is harder for Black people to pursue mental health assistance, is because it's like you're fighting multiple battles. Like, you're fighting a battle within that you're trying to work within yourself, but you're also fighting the external battles with the people around you that they want to be supportive, but it's so taboo in our world that they don't know, and they don't know that they're sometimes kind of like contributing to the issue sometimes. So I think that adds layers, and sometimes most people maybe don't see to the other side because it becomes too much.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I try, on my platform to really normalize conversation. I'm very accessible through direct message. I am one of those people that do, that I do check them often. I mean, it's above my pay grade. I will definitely, direct whomever to, the resource that I think best suits them. But you're so right, because I have a house full of people. I have 2 kids, I have a husband, I have a mom, brothers, all of that. Yet when I was going through my recovery, I felt so lonely because of the very thing that you're talking about, because I just didn't think that anybody, they just didn't understand. Right. They didn't understand.
Yeah. First of all, Achea, thank you so much for being so transparent. I know you said, earlier, I'm an open book, but, we have this platform to be able to, for women to share their stories. And so this is an extremely important conversation that we are having today. And the fact that you're able to, really lay out the fact that, this isn't something that, this was an extreme, it was a struggle for you, even in just seeking out the help. And even once you did, just really trying to process that. And sometimes people don't even think about the other side of how family may, respond to your treatment and all that. And, I'm a firm believer in like God's sovereignty from the standpoint of, when we experience things, and how, and honestly, even just within the last year, understanding it from the perspective of the things that I've experienced in my life or that other people experience in their lives, and how God uses those struggles to impact other people. And so I want to kind of move forward, right? And let's talk about, from your personal struggles, how you've been able to trailblaze and start to help other people and young girls. You have a blog called Real Girl, which was like a zinger. Me and Yana read that. We was like, okay, this caught my attention. Yeah. Like, I love it because there are no lies told there. But FART actually stands for Fearless Authentic Rescuer, right?
Trailblazer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so in your blog, Real Girls Part, you journal about your discoveries in therapy and your path to healing. Can you share a little bit more about your blog and how it helped, how it led to you penning actually your first self-help award-winning biography titled?
Yeah. So I really, when I started blogging, it was just a desire in me, I think, to really, one, put it out there and, use it as another way to, or helping myself. Writing has always been something that has healed me in a sense. It's just been a talent that God has given me to be able to express my thoughts and things. So, then it turned into, when I started putting it out there were so many people that would email me, respond back to what I would write and say, thank you so much for talking about this, because this is stuff that I'm experiencing on a daily basis. And nobody that looks like me is talking about this. And I'm a Christian, and I feel like, I don't have enough faith, or I've just given up. And so I just kept writing, because I knew that I wasn't the only one that was going through what I was going through. And as I kept writing, I said, because this is helping and touching so many people, what if I just go a little further and I write a book and talk about, life as a preacher's daughter, wife as an MBA wife, like for real, you know what I mean? Like, and not the TV kind. I mean, actually, like what that's like, to be in that light and be so insecure about yourself. And, just what if I just lay it all out there and just take that risk? And so that's what, led me to do that. And the acronym actually is those are 4 words that resonate with me so much, because those are 4 things that I actually, had to live out in telling this story and in walking this path every day. Every single day, I am reminded of the 4 words in my acronym. And I live them out. And for me, that's truly important, that I live a life that's very open, that's very authentic, and that's very real and relatable to people. And so that was why I chose, those words, and turning something negative and taboo into something that is positive and that you should be comfortable in saying.
Yes, I love it. I love that. As you were talking, Tyrion was kind of giving me the eye. Because a lot of, we both resonate with you on so many levels. But I personally, actually, we're like 3 years out now. I had I went through about a depression myself. It was real intense. My mother and my dad both had some extreme diagnoses, as well as myself, and things were kind of going south with work at the time. So it was just so many layers. And like you said, also, I think contributing to a lot of things with Black women is that sometimes it's so many layers for us to peel, because we already have to kind of mount to this superwoman complex and the savior and being the strength and the backbone of the family. And so sometimes there was a struggle there that I had to go through of, allowing myself to feel and not always go into save mode, because I found that, so often that you're pulling away from yourself. And I think a lot of that feeling that you kind of avoid really deepens as you get deeper into the depression. And then when you get to the point where you get your feeling back, it's just, oh my God, it's like a volcano erupting. So, how I kind of got over a little bit on the other side was that I love to write. So I wrote a lot of things, and I kind of shared along my journey too. So just hearing you and how you're helping women with your blog and sharing your narrative, I think that's so important for so many of us, is when we can get to a point where we're comfortable enough in being transparent and really, truly being authentic in our experiences. I think that's how we can slowly build this wall down of, this being such a taboo topic to talk about, because we see each other's pain because we may have lived it or experienced in our own way too.
Yeah. And when we talk about from the vantage point of faith in the church, and a lot of times where people, they start to play this kind of gymnastics back and forth, being like, well, if I say that this isn't a problem or this is an issue, then my faith is not strong enough, and they begin to believe what I truly believe is a lie, opposed to being vulnerable. I think we see so many times in scripture. I mean, even Jesus, to the point right before he's about to be crucified, he has this moment where he is in agony, knowing the death that he ultimately has to face out of obedience. But he didn't want to necessarily have to do that. That human part of him was like, Lord, if this is like, if you would let this cup pass from me, like, can we find a different way to do this? But not my will, your will be done. And we see the perfect example of the perfect person being in a moment of like, I don't really want to do this. I'm struggling here, being vulnerable, talking to the Father. And I think that that's a perfect example for us to, when we're in moments where we're struggling or feeling, not understanding something, or being in, in our anxiety and our depression, and, Satan wants to be like, your faith ain't what you thought it was. It's like, no, that's a lie. And I can be vulnerable and sit in this, and I can just take it to the Father and say, Lord, I can't do this. Yeah. I don't understand what's going on. I need you to help me with this, because that's ultimately what he is there to do. He's there to help us with. And that's where our faith comes into practice, is being vulnerable enough to take hands off of the situation and give it over to the Lord and allow him to give us wisdom, knowledge to seek professional help and all those things. But you know what I mean? I think it's a lie a lot of times that people in church believe it, like, see, your faith ain't strong enough, all this other stuff, when it's really about what Yana said, and what, you know what I mean, about being vulnerable at the end of the day, and not trying to control it, because ultimately that does make it worse when we're trying to harbor all that stuff for ourselves. Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead, Yana.
No. I'll say this real quick and then we can move on, because I know we can sit in this for a while. Okay. No, but even adding a layer to that, and sometimes, going to God means that he is bringing or placing you in a setting to where you're surrounded around with people, professionals, doctors that are trained in this area to assist you along in this journey.
Yes.
And like you said, Achea, it could be medication. It could be, just some type of, therapy that may not seem natural to you, but is something that could be part of what is needed and necessary for your journey. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. I have found myself, telling people, I have heard and I have seen, stories of, other people who are, Christians, and they have gone and they've answered, a prayer line. They have been completely freed of depression and anxiety. For me, the Lord did not do it that way. And I believe that this cup of affliction, I have, and it's so close to me because of what I am doing, and it's a part of my purpose. And, how he is choosing to use me to show up in the world. And had I would have not gone through and suffered the way that I went through and suffered, this was not something that I chose. It chose me. And so that is, why I tell people that, sometimes we need prayer. Sometimes we need a prescription. Sometimes we need prayer and a prescription. And so to allow the Lord to use whomever, whatever, for however long. And that's what it means when you say, not my will, but your will be done. And whatever that is. And to really just be truly living a laid down life and truly be surrendered to the plan and the purpose of God for your life, no matter what it looks like. And that was and is the decision that I have made to live by then and now and for the rest of my days.
No, I love that. Thanks for sharing that, because that's definitely someone needed to hear that. As we're still sharing about all the great things that you're doing and all the work that you're doing, you also know that you have a foundation called is it Real Girls Foundation?
Yeah, it's called the Real Girls Foundation. It's a newer foundation. Just it is young women are really near and dear to my heart. I mean, I love women, period. Just, empowering and inspiring women. But teenage girls, if we look at the statistics in mental health, and it, really starts to peak between 12 and 14. And so just a week ago, my second book, Authentic You, launched or released, and it is specifically for tween and teen girls. And I have a very candid conversation with them in that very short book about, all the things that I wish I would have had somebody to talk to me about when I was a teenager. And so one of the reasons why I started the foundation is because it is my goal and my desire to make a curriculum from Authentic You. And that will be the curriculum that I take the girls that, become a part of this group that I'm going to pilot. And I'm actually going to be the one pouring into them and mentoring them. So it's just really a way that I can give back to, young women. It's just really a passion in my heart to do.
I love that. Me and Taryn was over here like, we got girls. How old are you and how old are you taking and how we signed up?
Right.
And do your virtual.
How we doing this?
Yeah. But listen, I mean, I can never have enough help. I was just talking actually to a couple of people that have been kind of working with me on, the grassroots kind of things, what it takes to get that kind of stuff going. And I was saying like, I want these girls to be introduced to such powerful, positive influences. And my goal has always been, when I started the blog, when I wrote the book, and now with the foundation, is that I am not the voice, I am a voice, right? And so if I can open up the door and, provide seats at the table for other women to come and, pour into these other young women that are ultimately our future.
Yes.
That is, I believe that is, a part of the bigger plan is, that we kind of just keep paying it forward. And in that way, I believe that that's how we are blazing the trail.
Got it. Is this just unique to, are you starting like in a specific area or is this going to be like nationwide?
Well, my hope is, of course, I'm like, the dreamer. So my hope is that my hope is that it is nationwide. I am in Columbus, Ohio. So, of course, like where I piloted. However, that being said, like, I think that if there's enough interest in another area, I'm open, to having a version of it there. And, I'm just so passionate about just getting it out there and just helping our kids, because these girls, they need it. They need it so much.
Yes, absolutely. When I say you're tugging at me and Tyrian's heartstrings right now, like
we'll make sure we keep in touch, and
please,
yeah, we can exchange emails, and and definitely I can keep you in the loop, and you can, we can figure it out.
Absolutely. Because everything that you're saying are the things that Terry and I talk, because we both each have two girls of our own. It's just, I would say it can be difficult navigating as a parent, as especially a parent of Black girls, because there's so many things that you want to show them the way, but you want their view to be different from your own.
Yeah. The conversation that you and I had the other day, as far as like, it's okay to be an independent thinker. Like, we want to lay out ground rules. We want to lay solid foundation for you. We're not going to always get things right. And the things that they're being exposed to, obviously using good caution and always remembering their roots and their foundation at the end of the day, but also not being like, literally do is like, don't stray away from do exactly what we say. We want them to be independent thinkers, because I think at some point, even for us growing up, there were moments where it was like, you don't have an opinion.
Oh yeah,
we don't want that.
Oh yeah,
we don't want that to happen. So
yeah, no, you know what? I have one daughter and one son, and a lot of the, believe it or not, even with my son is 13. So a lot of, the content that I put in Authentic You, and, and my daughter will be 10 next week. And so the things even that they experience at 9 and 10 years old, the things that, my son comes home and tells me, and it's just they're experiencing things a little differently than we did just because they have, social media. I am not sure how old your girls are, but I have a very strong, and teenagers and teenagers typically don't love me when I say this, but I have a very strict policy when it comes to social media and young people.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids know that they're not allowed to be on social media until they're 18. And I only say that to them because their brains are not developed enough. And so, my kids and I, we have a lot of conversations that are very open. I've been very open with them about my mental health journey. They understand probably definitions of things. They have language for things that a lot of their friends don't necessarily have. And so that was, I think, for me, every kid has a parent that is willing to go there with them and to talk to them and to tell them the truth. I've made the decision to say, okay, well, I'm going to write a book about it. And then also, I'm going to have this foundation and I'm going to have, an opportunity for these girls to learn about things. And so, because my goal is if we can heal the kids and get them right, then we won't keep perpetuating this generation after generation of dysfunction, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we could go there, right? I mean, we could talk about this, for hours, but I really do think that this is a huge part of, helping the moms, which are around my age, and then helping the children, which are around, my kids' ages.
Right.
Love it. My oldest daughter just turned 10 last week.
And my oldest.
So then you understand.
Yeah.
Yes. Yana's oldest is 10. So yeah.
And you have a girl. So she's a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Yes. When I said there's Leia's there, that's why I was like, how can we sign up?
Right.
I got one now that needs to sign up for the family.
Yeah.
No, that's so good. That's so good and so needed. Thank you for that.
Yes, please let us know how.
Yeah, absolutely. I will make sure that we email and stay in contact.
Perfect. Absolutely. Perfect. So my next question for you is, in doing this work, how do you find balance in maintaining a scope of awareness of your own mental health needs, also while assisting other women through their dark and difficult moments? That's got to be tough. How do you balance that?
It is tough, and you are brilliant asking that question. So thank you, because that is actually not a question that I get a lot. And it's very important when you are an advocate and an activist, especially in the social justice arena or anything like this stuff that we're talking about. I make sure that I still stay in therapy, believe it or not. And that is because I have a tendency to struggle with what I call compassion fatigue. And basically what that is I'm an absorber. I am extremely empathetic. Yeah. I am like a sponge.
Big facts. Yes. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yana and I are both over here. You're an empath.
Yeah, I'm an empath. 100.
Yeah.
100. See, so this is what's crazy. I don't mean to get, so I'm not trying to get like, super spooky or deep or whatever. You can edit it out, but I am going to I'm going to just tell you how this is.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm an empath. And then I took the Enneagram test. I'm also a number 8, which is a protector. So I'm very justice driven. So I'm an empath, I'm justice driven. And then on top of that, you throw a lot of bit of discernment in there that you have, just from, that gift of, that God gives you. I call it discernment. Other people may call it intuition. So I have those 3 things. That's the perfect storm. And I'm an absorber. And so I pour every ounce of who I am and what I am into the work that I do. if I am not doing things that fill my cup, will deplete very quickly. And so what I have learned is that what is, like, I am a vessel, right? And what is inside this vessel, inside this cup, which is me, is for me. So if I don't keep myself completely filled and I start dwindling down and I start giving people what's inside of me and not the overflow, then I'm in trouble. So that's, that is how I maintain sanity, in what I do.
Wow. No, that's good. And especially to have that kind of self-awareness to know all the things that make up, and that you have to be very intentional about how you stand in a room, because like you said, as an empath, you absorb everything. It's so hard not to take on those emotions. You can be far away. I can see something on the news, be like, oh my gosh, you would think that it was my cousin that passed. Yes. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just, you feel so deep, and it's almost kind of, I don't want to call it a double-edged sword, because it's a good thing to have, because you feel and you have empathy, I feel.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes when you don't have control of that, it can control you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Big facts.
It make you sick, big like facts. Physically sick.
Yes.
Yeah, I think when I tested, I was a 3. I forgot what that is.
What is it? Do you know what it is?
I can't remember what my wings are.
Who's a 3?
No, I asked you. I said, what is a 3?
The achiever.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You definitely.
Dang.
Well, I feel like the 8s. Don't the 8s go to a 2 when they're stressed?
I'm trying to see what the wings are for.
I think so, because the 3s go to, I know a 3 goes to a 9. So yeah, it should be 8. Yeah.
I think the 8s go to a 2 when they're stressed.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, if y'all to our listeners, if you don't know what that is, it's called the Enneagram. I think it's ENNEAGRAM.
Yeah, super like thin, easy, like short read. Like you just read how to do it and then you get the test. It's really pretty cool if you're honest with yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I just lied. I am not an 8. I'm a 9.
Oh, what is it?
Of a 1 wing. It's a peacemaker. It's close to the justice. Peacemaker. I do procrastinate a lot. That is me. Yes. They also kind of have like a sloth type of, that sounds horrible, but I'm pleasant, peaceful, generous, patient, receptive, diplomatic, open-minded, empathetic at my best. On my worst, I'm spaced out, forgetful, stubborn, obsessive, passive-aggressive, judgmental, and unassertive.
Well, there's a light and dark side to all of us. So that's
of course.
And those things are very, very much true. Right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's so funny because I actually thought I was a 9. Like what you just read off is what I actually thought I was until I actually took the test, and then I was like, oh.
That's why I think the 8 and 9s, they cross each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm actually 9. Yes.
I could see that. I could see how that would happen.
Definitely, we all have big empathetic energy. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, before we go into our kind of wrap questions, I had one final question I wanted to ask you, and that's for any of us listening. What would be your one piece of advice based on your personal experience that you can offer to someone who may be on the fence of seeking care for their mental health? Like, how can one move past that shame and seeking help?
I love that you asked that question. I want to answer that by saying, we all know like maybe the story of Tarzan, right? And Tarzan, in order for the next vine to appear that he was waiting for, he had to jump off of the one he was on. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, in our lives, like for me, I had to have that Tarzan-like faith and just trust. Like midair, I was so scared of what was going to come, but midair, that next vine appeared and the help is just on the other side. Really, all you can do is just jump off. Like, there is no dipping your toe in. There is no kind of doing it. You have to go all the way there. And you have to be willing to be unsure of what's on the other side. And in that moment of uncertainty, that is when you will find clarity. And so just do it. Find your one. The next vine will appear. There are better days ahead. I promise that. Recovery is not linear, so it's not going to be in a straight line. You're going to have ups and downs and all arounds and in betweens, ebbs and flows. And being patient with yourself in that time frame, knowing that you're going to mess up. But just because you take 3 steps forward and you may take 1 step back, so be patient and it will all work out.
Yes, I love that. Kind of taking that question to the next level, what would be a piece of advice that you would offer to someone that is supporting, like family or friends that has someone that is going through? How can they be more supportive individuals, partners in helping someone navigate through this journey?
People don't want to be fixed. They want to be seen. And they want to be heard. Listen more than you speak. Be curious. When you are speaking, make sure that you're asking questions. And if you kind of feel like that person, whether it's a friend or family member, is hesitant to open up, try to be vulnerable and share with them a moment or a time when you maybe felt the way that you think that they're feeling. Because I think that people are more apt to share their experiences when they know that you've got some skin in the game and you're willing to share your scars, right? I mean, people, I think, benefit more from me showing my scars than my trophies.
Oh, that's a shirt, girl. Put that on there.
And I want to say this too. You know what? I feel like I was just on Instagram and I actually just responded to someone about, I saw a post and it was this edited text and it was like a picture of a text where, the person was talking to a friend like, hey, I'm sorry, I haven't texted you back. And there was like all of these lines that the person had edited out with like a yellow marker through it. And it was basically, them trying to come clean and tell their friend or tell their family member, like, the reason why I haven't called you is because I've been so anxious. I've been having panic attacks, blah, 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 blah. But they edited it all out and only said like, hey, life gets in the way. When can we have dinner? And basically they sanitized, is what I call it, their story. They sanitized their journey. Yeah. And I just want to say to people listening, don't sanitize your story. True friends, your true people, they cannot, if they're true, they cannot love you in pieces. Just like God doesn't love you in pieces, true friends can't love you in pieces. And so you have to show up whole as you are, all of you. And when they're real, they're going to love all of you. The good, the bad, and everything in between.
Yes. Y'all, this week's message has been brought to you by...
This is another Pass the Collection plate.
We're going to provide you with her details and how you can sow a seed here in a moment.
Listen, I receive it. Okay.
Yes. Oh my goodness, Achea. Ooh, you have dropped some gems on us today. We are so appreciative of you sharing your story, like I said earlier, for being vulnerable and just sharing all the parts and just really empowering us to take the initiative to make sure that we are seeking help for ourselves. And if not for ourselves, that we are supporting our family and our friends also in the process. Thank you so much. And I'm just so excited about the work that you have that are currently in motion right now. Cannot wait to see how things grow. And we, Yana and I, want to be a part of your journey. So let us some way, form, or fashion.
I would be honored. I would be privileged to have you with me. Listen, we can do a whole lot with the three of us.
Yes.
My goodness.
We might appear crazy on the show, but I promise our background was clear.
Oh, I like crazy. I like crazy because see, I'm tamed for y'all. See, I'm tamed. I like crazy though.
No,
okay. Don't hold back on us now.
The only reason why I'm holding back is because I done told y'all what my situation was before we got on air. So but when I'm all healed and recovered, trust and believe. Yeah, I can get crazy.
We love it.
We love it. That's the type of stuff we love right there. Oh my goodness. Well, we are getting ready to bring our show to a close. However, before,
you know, Black folks can't say bye, just bye. Yeah, we gotta ask questions.
We gotta say bye at least 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, we gotta get a petition a couple times.
So we just not opening the door. We ain't even made outside the door yet. So we right there in the conversation.
That's it. We still got 3 rounds. But before we let you go, what is your power word for 2020? We know how 2020 has been, but has there been a word for you that has helped you through this interesting year?
Goodness. Well, can you make an exception, and can I do 2? Because, all right,
sure.
So my 2 words are space and grace.
If I had a tambourine, I would shake it.
I hate you. I hate you. Why are you this way?
Space and grace. Space and grace. I've had to give myself space and grace.
Yes. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Space and grace. And please make sure y'all keeping y'all space.
Okay.
Yes. And don't sanitize your store, but sanitize everything else.
Exactly. Not the story now, but your hands. Wash your hands.
Please.
So Achea, are there any new works or projects for 2020 or going into 2021 that you're working on or getting ready to kick off?
Well, I mean, yeah, always, right? So, like I said, you can purchase Authentic You, which is what just came out. But then I am on the 3rd manuscript right now. I have no idea what it's going to be called, but just stay tuned with your girl, because I guarantee it'll be something amazing. Just follow me on Instagram at Achea Redd. I'm always on there, popping up, keeping everybody, up to date with what's going on.
Perfect. We were just going to ask you your handles. That was our last question. How our listeners can connect with you. Y'all heard her. We'll make sure that we link all this information in our on our blog site, on our website. Sorry.
And it's still early, y'all. Sow a seed and give a gift to a friend in need. Christmas is around the corner. Just check out, like Terry said, we'll have it all listed in the show notes. So
y'all are amazing. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for making me laugh so much on this rainy day in Columbus, Ohio. Y'all brought the sunshine to the gray.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much, Kia. We really I ain't even say your full name. I'm over here talking to you like we know each other.
That's okay.
You didn't cut it down.
That just means that we are now past the formal stage, because that's what people, they Kia Keys, that's how we roll. It's all.
I didn't bat an eye. I was like, yeah, Kia. You said Kia. I was like, Kia.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Don't bat an eye, because you all good.
Oh, this was such a joy in this season, this time. Thank you again for saying yes. And to our listeners, always, we want to thank you for always continuously joining us in our efforts in amplifying the beautiful voices of Black women. It's Terry and I's aim to always share our lessons and celebrate our successes. So, as well as the women that we bring on the show. So thank you so much for joining us in this journey. I don't have anything else to say. I know we all got to probably wrap soon because we got to get in this kitchen. Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
But no, but I don't know. Is there anything else you have, Tyria?
No, this has been great. I always love when, I don't know. I just love all our guests. You're amazing, Achea. This has been great. This has been great. This has been very warm, very welcome conversation today. It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure to meet you today. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, likewise.
I do too. God is so amazing. All right. Well, guys, until next time.
Melanate on that.
Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our chat today. Keep the conversation going by heading to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leaving us a review.
Have a story of your own to share? Email us at info@melanatedconversations.com or connect with us on social media at Melanated Conversations. Till next time, keep raising your voice.